Hi guys! Today I'm going to be talking about my 2021 goals wrap up. So I'm going to start by talking about how you can really reflect on your goals from the past year and the questions that I personally ask myself all the time about my goals. And then I'm going to be telling you what my 2021 goals were, what my progress on them is currently, and then I'm going to be sharing how I actually went around reaching each one of these goals. So if you're joining, just drop in the comments one of the goals that you set this year, and did you reach it? How did it go? Maybe you let it go, maybe you actually did reach it. So if you're watching the replay, just drop a comment telling me what one of your 2021 goals were and what your progress on it is. So I have 4, goals that I would like to talk about that were kind of my main focus for 2021. And the questions that I ask myself every time I come to sit and reflect on my goals, there are 2 main questions that I always ask at the end of every month and at my reflection at the end of the year. These are my 2 main questions that I always ask. The first one is, what went well? Because I like to reflect on what I'm doing that is actually working. And the second question is, what could have gone better? Because I also want to know what I kind of need to change when I'm moving forward in working on this goal or in other goals. And this kind of helps me balance out knowing what is going right for me and also what I can continuously work to transform. And sometimes there are things that went well that you're just like, I don't need to change this right now, and that's totally fine. But sometimes creating that awareness helps us make those changes when we actually have the time and space to make them. So hello to everyone joining. I am going to be sharing my first goal, which I kind of just wrote down because I was being asked to set business goals in a membership that I was in. And I really, in January is the end of my busy time, so I really don't like to set big goals in January for my business because I just kind of need some downtime at the beginning of the year before I set bigger goals, which I usually start in April. So the first quarter of my year is usually just wrapping up that Black Friday, New Year's energy and then taking a break. So I really honor the winter energy of just resting and reflecting, and then I go to work on the business goals that I've set in April. So last year I kind of set a goal to to grow my podcast and to really work on expanding the audience of my podcast, which, as you may know or you might not know, I actually haven't made a podcast episode in the past 5 or 6 months because I was working on rebranding it and rebranding Goal Setting 101 into Guilt-Free Goals. So that was a goal for me that just didn't happen. I did grow my podcast a lot. I think I doubled my listens, but it just wasn't exactly the goal that I needed to be working on. And so I wanted to start off by talking about this goal because sometimes we set goals just for the sake of setting goals and they don't actually align with our bigger purpose. And then those goals just fall apart because our why isn't strong enough, or maybe it's just we work on it but it just feels empty and it just doesn't align with our dream self and what we really need to be working on. So that was one of the goals that I set that really reminded me of something I say all the time, which is we're not married to our plans. We can set New Year's resolutions, we can set goals for the year, and maybe halfway through the year we realize that goal just isn't working for me and we scratch it off our list and take it off our plate. And that's totally fine to do because we all have goals like that and we all say we're going to do things that we don't do. And I think we need to get out of the mindset of pushing through on things when there's no return or when it doesn't fit into our bigger picture. So hello to everyone joining. I'm talking about 2021 goals and doing a goal wrap up right now. So I just talked about one goal about podcasting and how it was not the goal that I needed to be working on this year, and it will actually be the goal that I think will be more of a focus in the new year, but we'll see what happens when I set New Year's goals. So that is the first goal. The second goal I want to talk about is my workout goal. So I set a goal at the beginning of the year that I will move my body in a way that feels good 5 times a week. And this is a goal that I have reached most weeks of this year, but I kind of fell off of it later this year when I was really finishing up my website. I maybe focused on doing it 4 times a week some weeks, but didn't do the whole 5 times a week thing. So most weeks I did reach my goal of, working out 5 times a week. Moving my body in a way that feels good 5 times a week, because for me, working out isn't something that's motivating for me. It's not something that, fits into my bigger picture or my why. For me, I love working out because it helps me balance out my mental health and feel more calm in the rest of my life, right? So I really like having this goal on my plate. At some points this year, it did feel like it wasn't exactly the right goal for me, and I think in the new year, I'm going to be thinking about how I can shift this goal around so it works for me, and it really inspires me to work on my bigger why. So that is the second goal, and how I went about reaching this was actually using my goal tracker, and I use a monthly calendar to write down every single time that I moved my body and for how much time. So that's inspiring to me, and it really helps us because it's a habit as well as a goal. It's something that we're doing continuously. So that is really helpful to use a calendar and to actually track how often you're doing it, because that is a way that you are able to reach your goals. Tracking is really inspiring, and it helps us answer the questions of what went right and what went wrong. So if you look at a calendar for the month and you realize every week you did not reach your goals or you did not work on that habit, then that's going to inspire that energy of, okay, what can I do to really reach this goal? Do I need to change it? Do I need to take it off my plate? It's just not working for me. Or can I actually do something in my life, like maybe set a micro goal to reach this goal? So there's a bunch of different, ways to reach your workout goals. Sometimes people want to sign up for classes or work on a monthly calendar. For me, that's not how I reached my goal, because I really like the idea of having a menu of things that I want to pick and choose from. So I wrote down a list of things that I like to do to move my body, like yoga and cycling and dancing. There are so many different things that I could do to move my body, and so I make a menu and then I just choose the ones that feel good for me. So that's what I did to reach my goal. And then I asked myself again those 2 questions: what went right, what went wrong? And I think I just answered that. I did reach my goals most weeks of this year. What went wrong was that it didn't really feel aligned or like it was fitting into my bigger picture. So that's something that I know I can shift for next year. So that was podcasting and working out. And my other goal was, my third goal will be, I had a savings goal for the year. And for me, I don't love talking about numbers and money online or even in public to people I know. That's something that's private to me. But I do want to say that I had a savings goal and I did succeed at it. I reached it in October. So I had a number written down of how much money I would like to have in my accounts by the end of the year. And, actually it was by my birthday, and I think I reached it by a week or 2 after that, so I was pretty happy with that. But what went right is that what I was doing actually worked, and it helped me expand my mindset and motivated me to earn the amount I needed to make so that I could reach that savings goal. I wouldn't say that anything really went wrong with that goal. Like, everything went really well, and I think I'll be using the exact same strategy of budgeting that I used this year next year. I am not a strict budgeter. I don't like to strictly budget all my money and where it goes every month, but I do like to know how much I'm saving by the end of the month. So I have a budget plan that I work with. I write down, my fixed expenses for the month, and then I know how much my fixed expenses are, and I know how much I need to save that month, and I add those two together and I say, this is what I need to earn this month and this is what I need to save this month. And that's how I actually reached that goal of saving money for this year. So budgeting was a big part of this year for me, and I actually started budgeting last year, and it just didn't, I was still learning the skill, and this was the year that I actually really reached that goal of learning how to budget. So budgeting was something that helped me reach my savings goal. And the other thing was reading Think and Grow Rich. That book is incredible. And he has this exercise that you do where you write down exactly how much money you want to save by this time in my life, and what will you do to reach it. And he makes you write down this statement and then read it every day. For me, I'm not the type of person who likes to read things every day where it's about my goals. I like to give myself some breathing room around my goals. So I actually wrote down that statement, and I looked at that statement from Think and Grow Rich, and I thought to myself, how am I ever going to save this much money? I just don't know how it's going to happen. But after writing it down and doing that manifestation exercise, it actually happened. And I'm very happy about that goal of mine. So savings goal, that is how I reached it. And that's the exercise I do. What went right, what went wrong. So my last goal, which I'm most excited to talk about, and that's why I saved it for last, is reading 50 books this year. This is such a big goal for me. I read a lot, as you can see. I do read a lot. I've always read a lot in my life, but I've never tracked that goal, and I have never knew how many books I've read in the year until 2 years ago. So I started using just tracking how much I've read. So I actually had the goal to read 12 books in 2019. It didn't happen. I think I read maybe 9. And then I set the same goal in 2020. Read 12 books. I ended up reading, I think, 35 books. So it was really impressive. I really exceeded my goal. And then I decided that I would push myself a little further this year and set the goal to read 50 books. I read that CEOs often read 50 books a year, so I thought to myself, okay, let me try it. Let me see how it feels to read 50 books a year. What that works out to is about a book a week, or about 4 to 5 books every month. That's how it works out. So I really took this big goal. I broke it down into a sizable chunk. Okay, 4 to 5 books every week. That sounds much more doable than 50 books. And then I broke it down once more into a habit that I can work on, so that it's not just at the back of my mind, okay, I need to read. It's really something that I work towards every day. Taking those small steps towards a bigger goal. So my habit was that I will read every day. At the beginning of the year, I said for at least 5 minutes, and then I kind of dropped that because some days I read for 2 minutes and some days I read for an hour. So it really balanced out in the end. So reading 50 books, it's a big goal. What went right is that I know I'm on track, and tracking my goal through Goodreads really worked for me. So I put into my Goodreads challenge that I would be reading 50 books this year. And then I saw, every day or every other day, I would check my Goodreads and see when I was on track, or, it would tell you when you're falling behind. And this really helped me reach my goal. So it really pushed my butt into gear to reach the goal of reading 50 books. And right now I am just on track. I caught up yesterday by finishing a book. And yeah, that was what really worked for me. What didn't work for me was the pressure. The pressure of when I fell behind was really hard. And I actually fell behind in this goal in the first week. Okay, I guess second week. The second week of 2021, I went to Goodreads and it was like, you are behind in this goal. So it was because I was reading a book that was like 650 pages, and that's not easy to do in a week when you're also working full time on your business, right? So that was what made me shift that like mindset of like, you know what, if I'm gonna read 50 books this year, I don't have to read like these big, long, 900, 600 page books. I need to read things that are easy to get through, that maybe I'll read like one fiction book and one nonfiction book at the same time. Like I needed to switch up my reading habits to really reach this goal. So what didn't work was the pressure from falling behind on my reading goal. It was really, really stressful. So that was something that I need to think about when I go to set my 2022 goals is how can I change my reading goal so that it's really part of the bigger purpose. I have it in my mind that next year I really want to go through reading classics, and I think I need to figure out what feeling is driving me to want to read classics. What is the feeling behind the goal that is going to inspire me and make me passionate to reach this goal? That's what's really important when it comes to goal setting, is really finding that feeling behind it. So for my podcast goal, I just didn't have the feeling to reach this goal. It wasn't there. I had no big reason why I should expand my podcast because I was happy with what it was at, and I didn't need to make this goal bigger than it was. I just wanted to podcast. For my second goal, so for activity, again, I didn't have that strong feeling of why am I doing this? I know why on an inherent level that it helps my mental health, but I don't have the feeling behind it right now. And I really want to move in a way that feels passionate for me. And at the beginning of the year, I was dancing and it felt amazing, and I felt very passionate about music. So maybe that's something that I need to build into my goal setting for next year, is that, you know what, I'm passionate about music, and maybe I need to mesh that into my movement goal. Like maybe it's not that I will move my body for 5 times a week. Maybe it's that, 5 times a week I'm going to listen to music and move for 15 minutes. That would be a more passionate and a stronger goal than just I want to work out 5 times a week, right? So my money goal was something that I think is very easy to be passionate about and to know your why about, is like money just helps you do the things you love, and sometimes it helps you live in a way that feels the way you want to feel, right? So to feel our dream self feelings, we really have to have that security behind us. So I think that had a really strong feeling for me. So that was really an inspiring goal. And then I had my reading goal. So my reading goal was the one where I did have a lot of passion and love for reading, and I started a reading club, and all of these things really helped me reach my goal and have strong feelings behind it. So moving into my goal of wanting to read classics next year, I need to go behind what feeling is really driving this for me. What in my dream self is going to feel passionate about this? So just to wrap up, the 2 questions that you want to ask yourself when you're doing a goal wrap up is what went well and what could have gone better. And then I'll add one in here because I kind of hinted at it through this, is did I reach my goal? Like, did I progress? Did I make like just a little progression? Did I really reach it? Did I just need to take it off my plate and say goodbye to that goal? Do I need to change my goal? Really look at how that goal showed up in your life, right? So I went over my 4 goals that I worked on, and I reached some and I didn't reach some, and that's the thing about goal setting. Some goals you will reach and some you just have to let go of. because maybe they're not aligned with your bigger vision as much as you thought, or you tried it and it just didn't work for you, right? So I had my podcasting goal of wanting to expand my podcast. It wasn't a very specific goal because it really didn't align with me, and I kind of let it go within a few months. My second goal was wanting to move my body 5 times a week, and I've reached that most weeks of this year. My third goal was having a savings goal, and I reached it in October, and I'm so happy, and I celebrated, and it felt amazing. And then the fourth goal I talked about was my reading goal of reading 50 books. And, I didn't share how my progress is going on that. So right now I am at 47 books out of 50. I am on track, and I am reading a series of short stories right now that's only 60-something pages. So I am feeling confident about finishing off this goal strong this year. And then I also read a book where it's like daily pages, so that will add a book to my goal at the end of the year. So I really only have 1.5 books left to read. Is that right? 2.5? 2.5, I think. Okay, let me not do math on live. But yeah, something like that. And I have I'm just super excited to be finishing up that goal. And I haven't really thought about what I'll do to celebrate for that one yet, but I am ready to celebrate 2021 and all that I've accomplished. And I hope that you can share one goal that you have accomplished this year or were working on and learn something about yourself, because ultimately that's what goals are, right? We're learning about ourselves and we're trying to get closer to our dreams and how we want to feel. So yeah. That's the live. If anyone joining or on right now has any questions, I'll stay on for an extra minute to see if you want to ask anything about how you can wrap up your 2021. And in the next coming weeks, I will be talking about 2022 goals, which I don't even want to start with yet because we need to make it through our holiday season first. So yeah, I'll stay on if anyone has any questions. Thank you to everyone who joined. I am really grateful to have a platform to share all my goals on, because it is motivating. And for me, that's what motivates me to reach my goals. So if you have any questions, you could just leave a comment in the chat. And I would love to answer. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I did have a really strong why written down beside my money goal. And it fulfills my dream self. So that could be something that's really important, is I will move my body 5 times a week because ... and then write out your why, or maybe because it makes me feel this way. That could be really helpful. All right, if no one has any questions, I want to thank you for joining or watching the replay to kind of learn about how you can wrap up your 2021 goals, the questions you can ask yourself, and for listening to me ramble on about my 2021 wrap-up. And I'm definitely going to be sitting down and reflecting, journaling, and going into more depth about all of this because that's what's important to me. Also, I'm wearing earrings today, which I never wear. They're very old, but I love them. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, personal finance has been huge this year. I actually want to dive more into it next year. And I was thinking about setting a savings goal, but I think instead of savings, I would really like to set a goal to learn about finances and investments, and to, even if it's a small investment, just make some sort of investment next year. Yes, they are beautiful finance goals. I started following a bunch of people who talk about budgeting and finances this year, and it's really amazing. And I'm definitely going to get one of them or multiple of them onto a podcast episode next year because I really want to talk more about money goals. I think that is something that I haven't talked a lot about because I haven't done a lot around it, and I really like to learn first before I share it. So I want to be working with more people this year to talk about finances and finance goals. Yes, it is definitely better to just start. I love that mindset. Yeah, okay. Thank you so much for joining. I'm so grateful for everyone who hopped on and left comments. And yeah, just share one of your goals in the comments of this replay because I want to know how your goals went. How did it go for you? I love hearing about everyone's wins or lessons. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for all of you. Bye.